and you hear people talking about deep fakes. You don't know what you can't believe what you see. So everyone, unfortunately, you have to be a little skeptical of everything. You have to question everything. But I firmly believe that with knowledge that you can at least know what to look for. So you're not living in fear thinking, oh my God, what's next? What's next? You know what to look for. You know what to question. So you are empowered to live your life without fear. So that's my biggest thing. I don't want everyone petrified. I just want you to know it's there. But one thing I also do is I teach how great these tools are. I teach everyone, business people, my grandkids, I teach everyone how to use these tools to help you, to how to be more productive, how to create content. And me being jaded, I say safety and security content, because every single adult on the face of the earth is concerned about being safe, keeping their family safe, and securing their property. So I advise salespeople create safety tips, winter safety tips, summer safety tips, sun safety, auto safety. Be the source of safety tips. That's information that everyone needs. And talk to your clients and talk to your friends and family about generative AI and the scams. And I wrote an article recently for theclose.com about 7 scams in real estate. And I'm talking to real estate agents and I'm talking to people who are being scammed. So I am on the bandwagon, trying to get everyone on the bandwagon with me, what to watch out for.
Hi there. Welcome to the Connecting KC podcast. I'm Rachel.Kilmer, also known as Rach the Realtor on the internet, where I love, connecting all things KC. I'm a metro area real estate agent, retired sports reporter, and mom, and probably too old to call myself a TikToker, but honestly, that's how we got here. You can learn more at www.rachtherealtorkc.com. But this show is all about introducing you to all of the movers and shakers, interesting people, heartfelt stories, and funny quirks that make this vibrant community home. So let's get right to it with today's episode of Connecting KC. Welcome into today's episode of Connecting Kansas City, where I am so excited to be joined by Tracey Hawkins, aka Tracey the Safety Lady. She is the country's leading real estate safety expert, a powerhouse speaker, writer, trainer, and international content creator who has protected agents, brokers, and consumers since 1995. She hosts the new Drive with NAR, the Safety Series podcast, which debuted in July of 2023. So just recently, right? A year. Congratulations. She writes about safety and regularly contributes to the National Association of Realtors magazine, The Close, Edmund, Risk Media, and other industry publications. She's also a sought-after speaker who has rocked the stage for associations, boards, and real estate companies nationwide. She's a trailblazer who has created business-building programs, including the country's only real estate safety designation for agents, as well as many certifications related to safety and digital safety. She's a media expert featured on the Today Show, the Washington Post, the Boston Globe, CNN News, Essence Magazine, and now today here on Connecting Kansas City. Tracey, thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to talk to you.
Likewise, you have such an interesting career path. How did Tracey become known as the Safety Lady? How did you stumble into this?
Okay, so here in Kansas City, I have a twin sister, and she and I got our real estate licenses together, I want to say about 36 or so years ago. And she decided that that's the career she wants to be in. So she is still a real estate agent now. I decided I wanted to do something different. So I started reading all the entrepreneurial magazines, and I was looking for trends, and I saw that the safety business was a big deal back then. I started selling like pepper spray to local stores, and then I opened up my own store in the mall. And I had like a safety store. So I had child safety, auto security, home security, personal safety. And after a while, I got a little restless. It's like, I need out. My sister said, no one's talking to the agents here in Kansas City, Tracey. So I started talking to the agents here in Kansas City. And then the next thing I knew, I was doing it on a national basis. I was traveling the country doing it, and I have been doing it ever since.
Are you someone that is generally like an anxious person that's thinking about safety in every room you walk in? Or is this kind of a weird thing that you fell into this specific field?
When I learned that, and to even get started, the first thing I have to say is this book. This book is like the Bible in the real estate world, The Gift of Fear by Gavin D. Becker. This is a must read, and it talks about instinct, intuition, and that let me know that most crimes can be prevented. We all have a built-in survival mechanism that's hardly ever wrong, and that's our gut, intuition, instinct, sixth sense, flight or flight, spidey sense, whatever you want to call it. And that let me know that we could prevent a majority of the crimes. So my mission became, how do I teach other people to do that? But like you said, I have to do it myself. So therefore, I don't live, and I always say I don't live like a paranoid person. I'm not scared of everything because I'm empowered. I know what to look for. I know that I have a tool that will help me. So my goal is not people who are afraid to go anywhere or do anything, but people who know how to use what we're born with to keep themselves safe, people who know how to follow practices so that we can live full lives without fear.
I love that. I love that. So you've been doing this for quite some time now. How much has the conversation changed and like the most frequently committed crimes changed over the last 20, 30 years since you started this?
The message is the same, our instinct, and it transcends different types of crimes. I'm glad you asked that question because what's new now, we weren't talking about 2-3 years ago. That's generative AI. We did not know what was going to hit us. What was that, November of 2022? We had no idea when ChatGPT came on the scene how much it would change all of our lives, whether you know it or not. So in the real estate industry, and that's who I speak to mainly across the country, although I am talking to more business owners, I'm talking to salespeople, I am talking to senior citizens doing these AI programs, and even got a chance to do one for a group called We Code KC for 7 to 17-year-olds. All of us are impacted by it. Generative AI levels the playing field. So all of a sudden, every single one of us are good writers. And the way that comes into play is that criminals typically would write us these horrible emails. You would get the emails and you would look at them and you would know, I'm not clicking any links. I'm not responding. That is not well written because obviously it's some kind of a scam. Now they're using the tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Copilot, just like we're using it. So we're using it to help real estate agents use it to create great property descriptions, right? So you all are using it. You get to write them well. You get to write blog posts. You get to write social media posts. I have to say, you're not copying and pasting. We don't want you plagiarizing, but you're using it to at least get them written, and you can tweak them and fact check them. But now cybercriminals are writing with them too. So now that email telling you that the wire change instructions have changed looks professionally written. The email telling you that you won a prize, click this link to download it, they all look well written. So I am raising the flag, telling everyone, beware of the emails that you're getting, no matter how well written, because criminals are using these tools. And then the deep fakes. You don't want me to get started on the deep fakes, Rachel.
Yeah, that's so true. I had not thought about that. It's funny. I have a TikTok profile and have a decent number of local Kansas City followers there. And this past week, all of a sudden, a couple of fake profiles have popped up and started messaging people. And thankfully, they messaged one of my clients who knows that I have her phone number. So she's like, why would I text? So she sent me a screenshot. And I thought, well, it's misspelled, it's worded weird. So thankfully, hopefully people will know that. But that totally changes it if they can just plug it in ChatGPT and then all of a sudden they sound like me. That is so crazy. What about the actual human sounding ones? So my team, we were on a call last week with this company that's a piece of technology. It was an onboarding call and we got on and the person was like, oh, my camera is not working today. Let me walk you through this, blah, blah, blah. And I started texting her and I was like, this is a robot. It was AI. And she was like, how are you? Live reacting to what she was seeing on my screen. But it was just that 3% difference that you could tell she wasn't quite human. How do you even prevent from interacting with that? It's wild.
Education, knowledge. You mentioned having an agent attend one of my trainings here in Kansas City. I'll bet that agent will never fall for anything. I tell in my classes, I tell those in attendance, you can no longer believe what you see, what you hear, are what you read. So if you know that, then you're prepared for it. So you were clever enough, you caught on. Most people have no clue. There's a McDonald's here in town. If you drive up, it's in Waldo. If you drive up through the speaker, there's a voice that comes on to take your order. And it's like, wait a minute, something's a little weird. And then you realize that it's AI taking your order. There is a shopping center here in town. I saw this little, it looks like an egg rolling around. It's like, what on earth is happening? That's AI. That was a security, I can call it a robot, chatbot, whatever you want to call it, rolling around. And there was no person, no security guard to pay. There was an AI security guard, and it had cameras, and it was looking at everything. It was where a regular person couldn't be, and it never took a break. It wasn't distracted by its phone. So AI is here. And for those who are worried, is it coming for your jobs? Not if you're relevant. So if you pay attention to it, you know what it does, then I say use it to enhance you and don't let it replace you. But the bigger fear is how criminals are using it. So that's the hill that I'm on.
Yeah, no kidding. So before AI, so like let's say 5 years ago, we kind of like knew this might be coming, but it wasn't a part of our daily lives. What was the biggest crime you were seeing then? And like how quickly did it shift to them using AI?
When I think about the biggest crime then, it's still the biggest crime now, but it's enhanced and amplified by AI. So those emails, business email compromise, that's the number one crime. That's where the money is. So people in business, that's myself included, that's salespeople, that's real estate agents, that's any kind of salesperson, anyone in business who is emailing their clients, and that's everyone, you need to pay attention because that's always been the biggest place for criminals, the cyber criminals, to hack into your account and to take over and to steal, to intercept and to steal the client's money. Now with criminals using AI, it's only making it's worse. I was going to say better for them, but worse for us. So that's why everyone needs to be skeptical. You hear about the grandparent scam, and this has been going on since I was a kid. We're not counting how many years that was, but this is way before AI, that grandparents would get a phone call. Hey, grandma, hey, grandpa, I'm in trouble. I'm in jail. I'm in hospital. I need you to send money. Please don't tell mom and dad. And millions upon millions of dollars were lost that way because the grandparent, they hesitated. They wanted to make sure their grandchild was okay. And of course, it was a scam. But the point is, it worked. And did the voices sound like the grandkids? No, they were just hoping that they didn't recognize and couldn't really tell. Now, there are voice impersonations that criminals are using with AI tools. So now they're taking real voices. They're taking the actual voice. All you need is anywhere from 3 to 15 seconds of a voice, and then you can clone it or impersonate it. So now those voices are making phone calls to grandparents, and it's the real voice. And it's in the business world. Those voices are making calls. There is a story of an executive who got a phone call from his CEO to wire $242,000. He was on the phone. It was his CEO's voice. Who's questioning it? He wired the money. Then he called the CEO to confirm that it was received. He said, what are you talking about? He said, you called me. It wasn't him. It was a voice deepfake. So it's in the business world. It's in our personal lives. And then here's a story you're going to either love or be petrified of. In Japan, there was an executive who got a phone call, and he said, this sounds like a phishing phone call, which is how criminals approach you and they try to trick you into giving information. So he knew this one was suspicious, so he hung up the phone. But then he got an invitation to a Zoom type meeting. So he's on this Zoom meeting. He's looking at the picture of his, coworkers, executive team, and he was directed to wire $25 million. He did it. He followed up with a phone call, and the executive said, what are you talking about? He said, I saw you on the screen. It was filled with deep fakes. The videos were deep fakes. They were not the actual workers. So he wired $25 million, never to be seen again. So those stories are happening. And just by the way, before I forget, the solution is a code word. A code word. We all need it now in our personal lives, Rachel. We need it in our business lives. If someone calls you, now you're going to question everyone, and that's okay. They'll be upset, but better safe than sorry. Say, what is the code word? So if they're asking for information or financials or anything, and it seems a little off, what's the code word? And if it's a deepfake voice or a deepfake video, then they're not going to know the code word. Hang up the phone and then call the person back on the number that you know is actually theirs. We all need a code word.
Wow. Yes. That's so genius. I would not have thought about that. Actually, like, I'm going to be like, go tell my title company right now, like, hey, let's do this because in a real estate transaction, there are times you do need to exchange information. So it's confusing to know what's real and what's not. And a lot of people don't even know to look for things that are wrong. I know with my company, when on our paperwork, we have clients sign, there's red boxes all over it. Watch out for wire fraud. But I think people think it's going to be this like really obvious thing, like, oh, I would never fall victim to that. And then it's professional business executives are falling to it. So it can happen to any of us. That is so crazy. What is your advice for people that are just kind of the average citizen, not in real estate training classes, not hearing about this? How do you try to reach them and help like just the average citizen know that this stuff is out there and it could happen to them?
That's my goal in life. So that is what I am doing. That's why I've expanded my programming. I'm talking to everyone, not just real estate agents. Again, kids, I'm talking to senior citizens. Those are probably two of the most vulnerable parts of our population. But if you think about it, every single person on the face of the earth is a prime target. And most of the reason is one, they're not knowledgeable that this exists. And number two, they think it can't happen to them. So they're oblivious to it. So I am saying, and I don't use fear tactics, that doesn't work. I am saying just as a normal person, everyone, you need to be alert and you need to be aware that these stories are here. And if you look at the news, almost every day we hear about some kind of a deep fake. Was it a couple of years ago? We saw the Pentagon that had an explosion. It was a deep fake. We saw the Ukrainian president on YouTube saying, hey, soldiers, the war is over, lay down your weapons. Imagine the scariness, the danger of that. And of course, it was a deep fake. So what if they didn't know that it was a deep fake? Imagine the repercussions. And now we're in an election year and you hear people talking about deep fakes. You know, you don't know what you can't believe what you see. So everyone, unfortunately, you have to be a little skeptical of everything. You have to question everything. But I firmly believe that with knowledge that you can at least know what to look for. So you're not living in fear thinking, oh my God, what's next? What's next? You know what to look for. You know what to question. So you are empowered to live your life without fear. So that's my biggest thing. I don't want everyone petrified. I just want you to know it's there. But one thing I also do is I teach how great these tools are. I teach everyone, business people, my grandkids, I teach everyone how to use these tools to help you, to how to be more productive, how to create content. And me being jaded, I say safety and security content because every single adult on the face of the earth is concerned about being safe, keeping their family safe and securing their property. So I advise salespeople create safety tips, winter safety tips, summer safety tips, sun safety, auto safety. Be the source of safety tips. That's information that everyone needs. And talk to your clients and talk to your friends and family about generative AI and the scams. And I wrote an article recently for theclose.com about 7 scams in real estate. And I'm talking to real estate agents and I'm talking to people who are being scammed. So I am on the bandwagon trying to get everyone on the bandwagon with me, what to watch out for.
Mm-hmm. One of my biggest pet peeves is agents that are using AI to write their listing descriptions, but they don't change anything. Or if they do, it's super minimal. And they use the same language in every single one. And it's like, the charm exudes from the hearth of the home. And I'm like, no one talks like that. How do you balance using AI and then also like not using it as a crutch,
Right. And some of the tools like ChatGPT 4.0 now allows you to teach it your voice. This is how I talk. Learn how I talk, learn who I am. So every prompt will sound like me. But you're so right. If agents are doing the copy and paste, we can tell. So stop. So use it as a guide. You can use it as an outline, but use it as a guide. And right now it's unclear what is plagiarism. So if you copy and paste, you could be in trouble. Understand that you cannot copyright anything that you write with it because it doesn't belong to you. So that's number one. And number two is when you're using it for property descriptions, it doesn't know fair housing laws. In my presentation, I show a description and it's well written, it's flowery, it's professional, it's appealing. But one thing that it does is it violates fair housing law. So the agent who copies and pastes that is saying, here's a house for your family. Can't do it. And then it says, take a walk to the beach. You can't do it. So you must read everything. AI hallucinates. That's another word for lies. It makes up stuff. So it could look like something factual. And that's one thing I show is a conversation. It looks factual. It's naming names. It's giving details. And then you're looking at it and it's like, okay, I believe you. Wrong. It hallucinates, it lies. So if you're using it to write a description, you know that you can prompt it to make it whimsical, make it solemn, make it serious, make it funny. Whatever it is, you must tweak it. You must go in and change some of the words, take out those words that we all recognize or like standard, and just change it up a little bit. And that goes for social media posts. You can tell it to write a social media post, include hashtags, make it highly clickable. You're the social media queen. You know this stuff. But for those who are trying to be like you, they need to understand that they need to use it with caution. It'll tell you the time of day, the best time of day to post how to get high engagement, and include a call to action, but they still need to put their own flavor into it and to fact check it. So it's out there for us to use. It can make our lives easier, but we need to use it responsibly as well.
Yeah, I saw I am not kidding you, someone posting on, I can't remember if it's Facebook or Instagram, just like a friend of mine, their engagement announcement was clearly written with AI. Like the caption on it was like, they plugged this into ChatGPT to announce their engagement. I was like, what world are we living in? But how do you, yeah, I know. How do you teach it your voice? Like what are your tricks to teach it to actually sound like you?
There's actually a step on ChatGPT in the settings where I think it's called custom AI, where you actually go to the settings and you'll put in information. For example, I go to the settings. I said, I'm a former agent. I'm a safety expert, 29 years, and I talk about these topics. So whenever I write a prompt, I'll say, hey, ChatGPT, I need you to write a social media post about whatever the crime of the day is, auto theft. And then it will write, hey, I'm Tracey, and from my expertise, this is what I want you to know. So it learns me, it learns my voice, but that doesn't mean that I don't still need to fact check it, and it doesn't mean that I don't still need to tweak it. One thing I did is I saw a bio that was so well written, and I said, I copied and pasted it in ChatGPT. It's like, duplicate this, make this a formula, make it a template. And then so I said, learn it, read it, and I uploaded it, and it said, okay, I'm ready. So I said, here's my bio. Can you make my bio sound like that one? And that's what you read. So I don't talk like that. Tracey rocks and say, I don't talk like that, but I liked it. So I was able to teach it to duplicate something, but for me. And those are some of the tricks that I am teaching in my classes. I can't just come in and talk about the crime part, but I have to teach tricks like that so that agents know how to use it. And one thing that I really appreciate, that I love, is all of those tools' ability to read charts and graphs. KCRAR puts out a market report every month, and this is part of my class. And then I upload that graph, and I said, hey, Chat or Gemini, any of them, can you read this? And it'll read it, and it'll list everything. And I said, now make it a social media post. And then it made a social media post, ask your agent. And I said, now make it an email and give me a highly clickable subject line. It made that exact same information into an email. And then what else did I ask? I said, now write a blog post and focus on buyers, focus on sellers, focus on FSBOs, which are for sale by owners. Focus on them. So it took that data, all of those statistics, that market information, and it wrote specifically to that target. So that's a way the real estate agents can save time and use information that you need in your business. So I have to teach agents and just salespeople in general how to save time using the tools.
I love that. Yeah, for sure. Okay, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions I ask everyone that comes on the show. First one is, what is a great meal that you've had recently out and about in Kansas City?
I might be the wrong person. I'm not a foodie. I'm a basic girl. Just last night, I went to Twin Peaks, and it's an interesting restaurant, but the food is great. I had chicken fingers and fries, something that everyone's grandkids eat. Loved it.
I love that. Can never go wrong with chicken fingers or fries, especially if they have the good ranch. I'm a ranch snob.
Hello. Yes, that's the key. Exactly.
Yep. Okay, last question is, where can people find you? they want to get to know more about you, they want to learn more from you, where are you online, in person, all that good stuff?
It sounds crazy to say, but someone told me that you can Google Tracey the Safety Lady. I am on all social media, every one of them, not killing it like you, but I'm trying, I'm learning. So you can find me on LinkedIn. That's where I spend a lot of time. YouTube channel where I'm doing more and more videos, explainer videos and safety tip videos. I'm on Facebook. As a matter of fact, I've created a group on Facebook for real estate agents. It's called the Safety and Security Source for Real Estate. I have a regular group for regular people, a Safety and Security Source page. I'm on X, I'm on TikTok. So I am out there everywhere. There's no excuse not to find me. And I'm based here in Kansas City, but I travel nationally. And whenever someone calls me, I go. So that's what I'm doing. I'm even teaching teachers. I'm going to a school district to teach teachers how to use AI. So I'm talking to everyone, Rachel.
I love it. Love it. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be here today. I definitely walked away with some nuggets. I'm excited to go log into ChatGPT right now and teach it my voice. So thank you, Tracey. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Be safe.